Hey, welcome back to the Disney Plus Everyday Challenge, and today we have The Rescue. This is a National Geographic documentary from 2021. 2021, it's an hour and 48 minutes long, but the events in this are a real event that happened back in 2018. That's fairly 5 years ago, and somehow I do not remember it. I'll be the first to admit I'm not going to pretend like, oh yeah, remember all that, and then this is what it's all about. I don't remember it, but I do these like right after finishing watching them, so it's not like, oh, let me watch it before I go to bed and then I get up the next morning and do these. No, it's not how it works. I have to do this right after it's over, so it's fresh in my head and I can ramble incessantly without a script for 20 minutes or so. It's not going to be this long this time. But this is about an event of where about 12 boys and their coach went from a soccer team in Thailand, went to go visit some caves in their neighborhood and got trapped due to rising waters, fast rising waters. It's kind of a tropical area there where rains can come and go pretty quickly, and waters rise fast. And I don't know how. Apparently, they went a couple kilometers into the caves from the entry point, and this was a multi-day, I shouldn't say multi-week event that terrified the nation and eventually the world. News coverage everywhere around the world was following the lives and the rescue mission that went into getting these kids and their coach out. This is a documentary. It's a film. It's a film. So there's no like dramatic build-ups to a commercial break and then oh no, what's going to happen? Then you got to wait for them to come back from the commercial. Thankfully, that is not in this. This is no breaks, just 1 hour and 48 minutes of straight. It's built-in drama because, and I hate to minimize it to that because these are actual human lives at risk. You can see the footage of the families, parents, the mothers calling out for their children. In the early days of this, it's not something that is easy to watch. And with literally in a situation, I'm sure this has happened before to some degree. Probably never so many at once, which is what I mean. It affected so many in that neighborhood so quickly. There was over 5,000 people in the country of Thailand who contributed their efforts in getting these kids out. And they brought in people from the UK, the United States, Australia, China, and other countries, probably too many to mention, people contributing everything, their resources, their crews, their military, their rescue teams. And what this mainly focuses on is a number of UK-based divers, cave divers, who do this for fun. They take this skill where they swim around in very enclosed, tight spaces for enjoyment. This time, it was put to practical use to save lives. It's not why they did it in the first place, but their skills came in handy, and they became the point people for an effort of thousands. And it mainly follows them and the crews, other people. Yes, I'm going to tell you right now, the rescue is successful, but not without sacrifice, not without loss. That I'm not going to tell you what I mean by that. So you have to be made of stone not to be moved by this. Yeah, they're not Americans. They're not people that we know down the street. But the tension, the fear, the sorrow, the pain, the just anxiety of possibly losing a child is palpable in any language, in any culture, in any family around the world. And that's what makes this just so intense. And they're working against time. There's a monsoon season that was, let's just say, it should have happened sooner. The rains were holding off. And let's just say they made it with just hours, if not days, if not hours to spare. So this is not something I would have expected that I would have paid attention to, because I didn't know what it was. It's a fairly generic title. I didn't really know what it was all about. And, you know, we had one little girl fall down a well in the 80s. I think it was the 80s. And we just spent all of our news time about baby Jessica because somehow a little baby fell in a well, and her life is just as precious. And yeah, they got her out. But imagine 12, 11-ish year old boys or so stuck in a cave. I mean, going in, they had no reason to believe that they would even be alive. They expected to find corpses of children. Already upsetting. So yeah, this is something that it's gonna probably leave you a little bit stressed. But there is a happy ending. But again, it's not without some sacrifice along the way among the many people who contributed to saving these lives. So I spoiled that part, but I'm feeling they wouldn't have made a documentary about it. You kind of figure they wouldn't have made a documentary about it, about an unsuccessful mission, because it would have been really, nobody wants to watch that. It's like, hey, by the way, all these guys went underwater, the kids were dead, and then they died. That's not a documentary. That's not well. I mean, it's a news story, but you're not going to blow almost 2 hours on how everybody failed. I mean, by the way, there's also the fear that if these guys did something incorrectly and they brought out dead bodies, they would have been jailed by the Thai government. So they had to have a contingency plan in place so that once they got out of the caves, if something went horribly wrong, they had a contingency plan to be shuffled off quickly and quietly before anybody realized, and had to James Bond ways secret themselves out of the country. That's a very real fear. But you get to know some of the guys who took part in this rescue and what they were like and why they are the way they are. Why are they cave divers? And there's even a little bit of romance along the way. It really sort of builds into the fuller story. It's not just about rescuing the kids, but that is the main chunk of it, and the difficulties of even when you find them, how are you going to find them? And once you get in there, oh, you found them, great. How are you going to get them out? Going to drag him over 2 kilometers through water in a space that there's barely any air to breathe. So it's a little bit of a harrowing adventure, but I recommend it if you can handle this type of documentary. It's a real story, and you get to see how the perseverance of these people and the ingenuity of these people help save more than a dozen, a baker's dozen of lives. So let's pick tomorrow's episode.
76.
I really need to clean this screen. Fingerprinty. 76. I was just thinking we could use a short, because I haven't had a short in a while. And man, all these movies and things were really, Whew, I just needed a break. So what we have now is a Pluto cartoon, a classic Pluto cartoon. This is Canine Caddy. So yeah, I'm gonna watch a classic Pluto cartoon, Canine Caddy. I'll see you back here tomorrow with that.